6 months before Meghan Markle married Prince Harry, something happened to her that she'd never experienced before. After years of fitting into certain stereotypes, Meghan finally got to show off her freckles on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine. The photographer she was working with, Peter Lindbergh, shot the now iconic 1990 British Vogue cover that catapulted a baby-faced Naomi Campbell and Cindy Crawford to global fame. Now, 27 years later, he was taking the picture of an actress who would soon become one of the most talked about women in the world.
Actress Meghan Markle appears on the cover of the new Vanity Fair with the headline, "She's just wild about Harry."
In the interview, she gushed about her British boyfriend and revealed it was a mutual friend who introduced the pair back in July.
How did you first meet?
Yes, we first met. We were introduced actually by a mutual friend, and then we met once and then twice back to back, 2 dates in London last July.
Yes.
Beginning of July. And then it was, I think, about 3, maybe 4 weeks later that I managed to persuade her to come and join me in Botswana, and we camped out with each other under the stars. She came and joined me for 5 days out there, which was absolutely fantastic. So then we were really by ourselves, which was crucial to me to make sure that we had a chance to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Prince Harry had struggled for years to find the one. In Meghan, he found something special. Not only did he find the love of his life, but he found his purpose.
It was one of the first things we started talking about when we met, was just the different things that we wanted to do in the world and how passionate we were about seeing change. I think that was that's what got date 2 in the books, probably.
Plenty to talk about.
But as they'd soon learn, their engagement would open Pandora's box. What really happened between Meghan and her father?
Nobody in the family wanted to come out and speak. I am not going to say nothing and lay low.
What were Samantha Markle's motives?
There's something in this country known as freedom of speech. She doesn't have a copyright on that, and she's not going to tell me that I can't speak.
And how has Meghan's entry into the royal family changed the House of Windsor? This is The Windsors. I'm your host, Kerry Elstub. Episode 2, Part 2, A Hollywood Princess.
It is the news the world has been waiting for. Prince Harry and actress girlfriend Meghan Markle are officially engaged.
The fact that I fell in love with Meghan so incredibly quickly was a sort of confirmation to me that everything, all the stars were aligned, everything was just perfect. It was this beautiful woman just sort of literally tripped and fell into my life. I fell into her life. And the fact that I know the fact that she'll be really unbelievably good at the job part of it as well, is obviously a huge relief to me, because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it.
To mark the happy news, the couple appeared in the grounds of Kensington Palace for a photo call. They posed against the backdrop of the sunken gardens, a nod to the late Princess Diana, who always said this was her favourite spot.
What do you think your mother would have thought of Meghan or said about Meghan?
Oh, they'd be thick as thieves. Without question. I think she would be over the moon, jumping up and down, so excited for me. But then, as I said, would have probably been best friends with Meghan. So no, it is days like today when I really miss having her around and miss being able to share the happy news. But with the ring and with everything else that's going on, I'm sure she's with us. I'm sure she's with us. Jumping up and down somewhere else.
For Harry, I just think this is like the end of Harry's journey from the little boy that had his head bowed behind his mother's coffin, that really took Harry to the nation's heart, to him with a big beaming smile with a beautiful wife and just the whole future ahead.
Prince Harry designed the engagement ring himself, choosing 1 diamond sourced from Botswana and 2 smaller stones from Princess Diana's collection.
You're getting a new country out of it, a husband obviously, but also giving up your
nice.
career.
Yes, that's nice. Yes.
The fact that she was a divorcee was huge, actually.
That's Nine Honey's royal columnist, Victoria Arbiter.
But I think Meghan and Harry, more than any other couple in the royal family, really reflect what is happening in our society. There are all kinds of interracial, biracial marriages that are happening in society. There are people who are divorced, they get married again. You're allowed to get married again. And so I think that's what people are really finding so endearing about this couple as well, that they can look at them and go, okay, you're royals, you're the Duke and Duchess, but you are kind of like me, and so I can relate to you. And I think that's why people have just taken them into their hearts so warmly.
Harry not only found the love of his life, but also a partner who would be a force of change in the monarchy.
Harry has made no bones about the fact that he has been looking for someone to be his partner in life, to be his soulmate.
That's Juliet Reardon, author of The Royals in Australia.
I think that it's very difficult finding that person when you are Prince Harry. You don't know who to trust. You don't know what they want from you. You also have to be aware that you are introducing this person to a very, very difficult role in life that you can't escape, that you can't walk away from. And it comes with an awful lot of pressure, and it comes with a lot of duty, and yes, it comes with a lot of privilege, of course, but there is a lot of payback for that privilege. Prince Harry's previous girlfriends have buckled under that yoke.
Hey there. We hope you're enjoying this episode on Meghan Markle. For more of her best moments, head to 9Honey's Instagram page. That's the number 9, Honey.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are engaged, everybody. That's right. It's very excited around here. Clarence House announced Monday in a statement, quote, His Royal Highness and Ms. Markle became engaged in London earlier this month. Prince Harry has informed Her Majesty the Queen and other close members of his family.
But not everyone was pleased for the couple.
In just over 3 months, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will tie the knot, but some of the bride's family don't know yet if they'll be invited to Windsor Castle, including Meghan's half-sister Samantha Markle, who's made plenty of her own headlines in the lead-up to the royal wedding.
As preparations for their May 19 wedding were in full swing, their love story would be overshadowed with another scandal.
I have a right to speak the truth and set the record straight.
Are you out there trying to hurt or trying to slam Meghan?
I have a right to speak, and I have a right to help people understand the way things are.
There's no bigger media vulture with this wedding than you, is there, Miss Markle? I mean, how you have the gall to come on here and talk about media vultures? You're doing a book called The Diary of Princess Pushy's Sister. You've been trashing it for 2 years, you little vulture.
Meghan Markle's half-sister, whom she hadn't spoken to in years, had been promoting her book titled The Diary of Princess Pushy's Sister. And it would seem her Twitter account became an avenue for snarky attacks on the soon-to-be Duchess.
Honestly, what, she could spend in a weekend would greatly help Dad. So that should be a priority. Like, if you can afford $75,000 for a dress, you can afford $75,000 to help your dad. That's how I feel. That's who I am.
In that respect, has she disappointed you a little bit?
Yeah, I think you need to step up to the plate and make sure he's well taken care of.
How would you describe Samantha, the half-sister?
Ghastly, appalling, the kind of worst half-sister imaginable. Somebody who clearly wants to be Meghan Markle, is seething with jealousy she's not Meghan Markle, and is now eking out this kind of miserable career as the bitter half-sister, telling us how narcissistic and awful and grasping Meghan is, when actually all of us think that's her.
The Markle family's behaviour really has been mind-boggling. You have to wonder the motive. I think the motives have probably become quite clear, the sort of money-driven, fame-driven, jealousy-driven.
The royal wedding is only days away, but the event is in turmoil, with reports Meghan Markle's father will no longer attend and walk his daughter down the aisle.
Thomas Markle's not going because of an unfolding scandal over photographs. A deal that Mr. Markle made with a photo agency to take these pictures of him getting ready for the wedding. Now, they are supposed to be paparazzi pictures. They were staged to make they look like they were taken from a distance. These are the photos Mr. Markle said a deal would help him recast his image.
Not only was her father engulfed in staging paparazzi photos for payment, but he pulled out of attending his daughter's wedding altogether.
Following the latest dramatic twist in the royal wedding saga, it's looking almost certain that Meghan Markle's father will miss the ceremony, as he's announced he's due to have heart surgery perhaps as soon as today.
Just 3 days to go until the ceremony. Thomas Markle has told the TMZ tabloid news website he is having the operation today and he won't be able to make it, despite just hours earlier saying he would hate to miss such an historic occasion.
I can't begin to fathom how devastating it would have been for Meghan, thinking, my father's coming, my father's coming, my father's coming, and then suddenly he wasn't.
The press coverage was intense. Stories of Meghan's family filled the front page of every newspaper.
Meghan Markle confirms this morning her father will not attend her wedding to Prince Harry.
I'm very keen to start with today's extraordinary statement from Meghan Markle, released, of course, by Kensington Palace. What did you make of this?
Well, there are three hidden messages in there, weren't there? There was one, she's always cared for her father. Well, if she's always cared for her father, why is he in the mess that he is now? The other one was sort of thanking everybody for their support. And the third message was, well, hope you enjoy the wedding as much as we will.
Do you know, and what, do you think there's some hidden stuff there that...
Well, I'm not too sure about. I've always cared for my father. It's a bit odd coming out the way it has come out after everything that's gone by over the past week. The sort of the photographs, the so-called illness, the pains. It's just very peculiar.
Her own father, who was supposed to be walking her down the aisle at this wedding that'll be watched by 1 billion people around the world, is now not going to get on the plane and won't be there. I'd imagine that she's utterly devastated.
When threatened with disunity, the British royal family's trademark move is to cut out the weakest link.
We have seen the car crash of her family coming out and talking in the media. This hasn't really happened before to this extent for the royal family. There have always been sort of dodgy relatives on the side who may have said something that they shouldn't, or people who have been paid for kiss and tell stories. They haven't really bothered the royal family too much. I think in this case, we're talking about Meghan's father, we're talking about her half-sister. They're coming out, they're saying ridiculous things, they're being set up by the media. That would have been very upsetting for Meghan, I'm sure. And I think Harry would have felt very protective of Meghan and given her the full protection that Kensington Palace can give.
Rumours ran wild of Meghan's refusal to talk to her father, that the Queen had orchestrated an aggressive strategy to cut Thomas out of the picture. But was that really the case?
There's been a lot of critical commentary saying Harry and Meghan should have done more. Kensington Palace should have done more. When in point of fact, people were sent out to help Thomas Markle. His suits were all organised. His shoes were organised. Flights. There was somebody who was going to go there to pick him up and fly him to England. He was not left just to his own devices. There's no way. I mean, Harry would never have done that, let alone Meghan with her own father. So for him to have let her down so spectacularly at the last minute and so publicly, with a story that didn't quite gel. I don't want to suggest that he wasn't very poorly, but there's been enough evidence that suggests that perhaps he wasn't quite as poorly as he intimated. I think he just panicked and chickened out at the last minute and thought, I don't know that I can face the Queen and all these other people after I've staged photographs.
The man is a recluse. He dropped off and dropped out of sight in 2011. And most people know that recluse don't like to be interfered with. They don't want any help from anybody.
We have to remember that Meghan had not seen her half-sister in an awfully long time. They were not friends, and her relationship with her father has definitely been damaged. I'm sure she hopes to repair that in the future. But this is just one of the things that the royal spotlight has made a little difficult for Meghan.
It might have been a rocky ride this week, but Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are determined all will go smoothly tomorrow on their big day, taking part in a wedding rehearsal at Windsor Castle. The strain over her father pulling out of the ceremony now seems behind her. But the big question remains, who will walk Meghan down the aisle?
Windsor Castle, it's a beautiful setting for tomorrow's big festivities.
We have so much excitement. Can you imagine how Harry and Meghan feel at this moment? It is crunch time for them. And we now have an answer to one of the biggest mysteries of this wedding.
On the eve of her wedding, after days of uncertainty, Kensington Palace finally confirmed Prince Charles would be accompanying Meghan partway down the aisle.
Good evening to you, Tracy. A very big announcement from Kensington Palace just in the last few minutes. And as you said, it answers the question on everyone's lips. I'll read it to you. They have said Ms Meghan Markle has asked His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales to accompany her down the aisle of St George's Chapel on her wedding day. The Prince of Wales is pleased to be able to welcome Ms Markle to the royal family in this way. So that means it will be Prince Charles, instead of her own father, walking her down the aisle.
Camilla, can we start with you with this big news about Prince Charles walking her down the aisle? Put it in context. How big of a deal is this?
I think it's a massive deal because this is a future king basically saying to Meghan, welcome to the royal family. Apparently there was a discussion between Meghan, Harry and his father yesterday. Meghan was the one who led in with, would you mind? He was honoured. I understand his spokesman talked to me this morning and said, look, he's absolutely delighted.
We have all the excitement from Windsor and around the world as the happy couple prepares to walk down the aisle in just a few hours.
And it's fair to say she's going to arrive right on time as the clock is about to strike noon.
She looks absolutely beautiful. So many different names bantered around about this dress. If this is Givenchy, Claire Keller is an incredible British designer who's recently started working for the House of Givenchy.
It was far from a dream run to the altar, but Meghan had a pillar of strength in her mother, Doria, who had been by her side in the days leading up to the wedding.
She's going to have one relative at the wedding, her mum.
That's sad.
That's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be 40 royals, and her, the Queen, and all them dressed all like you know, to the nines, and the mother. But you know, mother sticks with you all the time. You know, I say your mother's your best friend, and it's turned out for Meghan, it's true.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see.
Sitting alone in the pews and carrying the weight of a fractured family, Doria watched with shining eyes as her only daughter said "I do" to her prince.
We can see in her mother is an incredibly strong role model. I don't think anyone will ever forget the image of her sitting at Meghan's wedding by herself in that front pew, and she was just the epitome of grace and sophistication and elegance.
Just as long as you stand by me.
The idea of Meghan being part of the royal family is very new. You know, she's a TV actress of some note. She brings a little bit of Hollywood with her. And then, of course, she is biracial too. And what we have seen is that she has brought a whole new audience to the royal family. More young people are looking at the royal family now, but also more people of colour around the world are suddenly seeing that this family is relevant to them too. Before, they were very much on the sidelines. It was a very white, stuffy, old-fashioned family that had something to do with privilege in the past. Now we've got Meghan in there, and she is really opening up the popularity of this family.
Where the Prince of Wales now joins her to walk through the choir to the high altar.
Harry and Meghan, I now invite you to join hands and make your vows in the presence of God and his people. I, Meghan, take you, Harry.
I, Meghan, take you, Harry.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Till death us do part.
Till death us do part.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, stand by me.
suddenly we had an African-American preacher in the pulpit delivering a sermon. There was the Kingdom Choir doing that incredible rendition of Stand By Me. These are things we had never seen at a royal wedding before, not to mention a biracial woman walking solo down the aisle to her waiting prince.
Bride looking radiant. And there is the kiss that everyone was hoping for and waiting for.
Billions of people tuned in to watch the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have their first kiss on the steps of St George's Chapel, as the British monarchy entered a brand new era.
Congratulations, Meghan and Harry!
The historic day marked a new age for the Windsors. Even Meghan's 5-metre-long veil symbolised a modern monarchy. Made of silk tulle, it was embroidered with 53 individual flowers representing each of the countries of the Commonwealth, including Australian wattle and a nod to her home state with the California poppy.
Some sort of representation of all 53 of the Commonwealth countries, which was key. And I'd originally said to Claire Waite-Keller, the designer, how can we incorporate that? Would it be the state flower, country flower of each place? And it was her idea to do wildflowers, which I think ended up being a really beautiful way to embody the feeling of it.
Particularly, I think the way they've worked up in 3 dimensions, and you've got these beautiful embroidered threads up. Yeah, the Australian wattle right there.
Her something blue was a piece of fabric from a dress she wore on her first date with Prince Harry. It was sewn into her veil. It was just another way Meghan put her own stamp on the big day.
The happy couple has enchanted the world with their real-life fairy tale. But now, the real work begins.
3 days after their wedding, it was straight back to royal duties, with a garden party for Prince Charles's 70th birthday celebrations. Harry and Meghan were basking in newlywed bliss, but the tabloids were painting a different picture. Stories of the newly anointed Duchess breaking royal protocol and disappointing the Queen were rife.
Where I think she struggled are the sort of rules and regulations about how to deal with life as a royal, the protocols, if you like.
I think she has a lot to learn very quickly, and I think she is learning it on the job. There have been a few changes at Kensington Palace. There are new advisors in there. There's a new security team in there. I think Meghan is having to learn how difficult it can be being out in the public when you're a member of the royal family. You have to be aware of the security issues. You have to be aware that not necessarily everyone out there is wishing you well. And I think that will be hard to take for her because she's a very natural girl who connects very naturally with people. And she is having to consider the larger picture.
A quick study in the peculiar world of royal protocol.
So guys, here are just some of the things Meghan can no longer do as a royal. She can't maintain her own Instagram account. She can't accept free designer clothes. Even giving autographs is now off the table, which, let's be honest, for me would be the hardest.
A lot of changes here. From a conservative perspective, these are royal rules that shouldn't be broken, right?
That's right. These all may seem minor points, as was her number where she wore a dress that was off the shoulder. Now, royals never really do that, and so I think that was looked upon again, and she was probably said afterwards, I'm not quite sure that's what we do here, sort of thing.
The negative press was something Meghan's new sister-in-law, Catherine, was all too familiar with.
Yeah, for the first time on Saturday, royal sisters-in-law Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle were one-on-one as they teamed up to watch the ladies' single final at Wimbledon.
We've seen them together at official royal outings with their husbands, Prince William and Prince Harry, of course, but Saturday's event marks their first ever joint appearance, just the two of them.
Meghan looked to Kate for guidance and support. But despite having found an ally in both Kate and the Queen, the unfair media attention continued.
The royal family's old, and so are its traditions.
Despite the media scrutiny, Meghan stuck to the age-old mantra, never complain, never explain. But as a previously outspoken feminist and a woman of colour who eagerly stood up to the injustices in the world, Meghan's silence felt wrong. What happened to the kid who called out that sexist advertisement? Where was the actress who used her platform to share her own experiences of racism? And the woman who wanted to instill in her fans the importance of self-worth? Was this modern princess really going to rock the royal boat like we all thought? Or, like so many royal women before her, had she simply succumbed to politely smiling to adoring crowds as she accompanied her husband on royal engagements? With an overseas tour merely months away, royal watchers in Australia waited in anticipation for their chance to witness the power couple on our shores. Hi there. I hope you're enjoying this episode on Meghan Markle. If you want more exclusive clips, join our closed Facebook group, The Windsors. Soon, Meghan and Harry were off on their first international engagement. Their first stop, Sydney, where royal fans had something else to cheer about. Meghan and Harry were expecting their first child.
Well, Kate, I'll get on to that in a little bit, but first some breaking news from Kensington Palace, and I can report tonight that Meghan is pregnant.
It's the news the world was waiting for. Duchess Meghan, seen here today in Australia, clutching a binder in front of her, is pregnant.
The world rejoiced for the happy news. The British royal family gave Australia something they had never experienced before, and the monarchy felt more relevant than ever. But there was little time to celebrate. Harry and Meghan would begin their jam-packed schedule of 76 engagements in 16 days the following morning.
Tomorrow they will be heading to Taronga Zoo. They'll meet a couple of koalas and their baby Joey's, probably quite timely, and then they're going to head across the water to the Opera House, and that's going to be the first chance that the public here in Sydney are going to be able to catch a glimpse of them in the flesh. But very exciting news to reporting tonight that Meghan is indeed pregnant.
Harry and Meghan's visit was meticulously planned, with every minute accounted for, and the world's media watching the expectant Duchess's every move.
It is such an honor to be here tonight, celebrating all of you and supporting my husband in the Invictus Games, which he founded 4 years ago. In that short span of time, the Games have evolved into an international platform of some of the best athletics and sportsmanship you could ever witness, coupled with a camaraderie and close-knit sense of community, which can only be defined as the Invictus spirit.
What's not to love about Meghan? She's young, she's beautiful, she's charming, she stands for female empowerment, she wants everyone to have an equal opportunity in life. I think she's great, and I think that everyone who meets her warms to her.
That's Emily Andrews, who covered the South Pacific Royal Tour for The Sun. But the tour wasn't without drama. In the throes of her first trimester, Meghan struggled to keep up with the pace of a gruelling royal tour.
There was a moment when the Invictus Games opening ceremony ran late for Meghan, and they went back to Admiralty House. I think she was quite tired, understandably. And I think it was probably Prince Harry who decided she needed to, slow down a bit.
And in Fiji, the Zika virus threatened the royals' highly anticipated visit.
When those first comments came, she's going to take a little bit of a slower pace now, I wondered whether she would pull out of the Fiji and Tonga leg of the tour. The islands have the Zika virus, and the government has advised pregnant women not to go there. They say it's too dangerous. We all asked the palace about this when the tour was announced, and they said that the doctors had taken it very seriously, of course, but had decided it was totally safe for the Duchess. But now we wondered, maybe it's not a good idea. How wrong we were. She went. There was no mention of the Zika virus anywhere. There were mosquitoes. She wore her arms bare in both places at evening events. It didn't seem to matter at all. And I think that the people of Fiji and Tonga were so pleased that the Duchess made that statement. This has affected their tourism. And here was a member of the royal family, a pregnant member of the royal family, saying very clearly, no, it is safe.
The show went on, and Meghan never failed to impress.
Many just wanted to meet Meghan, who often broke royal protocol, hugging and even posing for selfies.
Meghan said that she looked like me when she was younger and that girls can't do anything.
It's pretty much a public holiday, or an unofficial public holiday in Dubbo. Every single shop is shut down. Many of the school children, as you can see, will be in the park there.
Meghan arrived with banana bread that she had baked just the night before.
Even though it was the second day of this massive tour and she was pregnant,
they're a bit taken aback because it's the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at their door. But her response was, I was raised to never go to someone's house without bringing a gift.
There's a grace about her which makes her fit into a royal setting.
Really, Meghan has something of Diana in her ability to talk to regular human beings.
For so long, the Queen had been a steady symbol of unity for the Commonwealth nations. Now, with Meghan and Harry, we were witnessing a new royal age.
Everyone should be afforded the opportunity to receive education that they want, but more importantly, the education that they have the right to receive. And for women and girls in developing countries, this is vital. Providing them with access to education is the key to economic and social development.
That first big speech in Fiji was incredible. Absolutely incredible. She gave it at the University of the South Pacific, and I don't think we knew what we were expecting. We were told that the Duchess would give some remarks. The Duchess gave so much more than that. It was like a cry, a rallying cry for women around the world to really take charge of their lives and to get the education they needed to go out and do great things in the world. She said that it started at home, and here in Fiji that women in their homes needed to really take charge and really educate their boys to respect women.
It was designed to define her role in the British royal family and in some ways reinvent it. Royal family members must remain neutral on political matters, and yet Meghan made no secret of her firm belief in the empowerment of women. A beautiful clothes horse, she was not. Meghan's speech provided a glimpse of what the future monarchy might look like long after the Queen's reign.
Yes, women's suffrage is about feminism, but feminism is about fairness. Suffrage is not simply about the right to vote, but also about what that represents. The basic and fundamental human right of being able to participate in the choices for your future and that of your community. The involvement and voice that allows you to be a part of the very world that you are a part of.
We saw who Meghan is, and we got a sense of who she can be. It's a new world order with Prince Harry and Meghan in the royal family.
But with every new stride comes rumours of internal division.
Prince Harry and his wife Meghan are getting a new home with a baby on the way. The couple is officially leaving Kensington Palace, where they've been living with Prince William and Kate. They are moving out to the country to what is called Frogmore Cottage on the grounds of Windsor Castle.
While joining the royal family is a fairy tale, there are also going to be challenges for Meghan. Well, this morning, this move by Harry and Meghan outside of Kensington Palace is being widely interpreted as suggesting things are not quite perfect.
Harry and William's royal rift, the truth behind rumours of a feud with Meghan in the middle.
As Harry and Meghan prepare to leave their marital home for Windsor, speculation of tension between Harry and his brother William was rife. Kate and Meghan were caught in the middle, pitted against each other as duelling duchesses.
The rumours of this rift between the Sussexes and the Cambridges has let loose this avalanche of stories.
With rumours of tension and a potential leak in the royal household, could it be up to Her Majesty to bring the family together?
There is a suggestion that the Queen will step in and help Meghan get through this early period.
After all, the biggest challenge to the crown is its own survival. Thanks so much for listening to Nine Honey's royal podcast, The Windsors. Next week, we delve into the life of the world's longest-serving monarch, Queen Elizabeth II.
It is very simple. I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Duty called from a very young age, and people forget that she became queen at a time where it was largely a man's world.
Well, may we say, God save the Queen.
If you enjoy this podcast, then please take a moment to rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast was written by Julia Norton, voiced by me, Kerry Elstub, and produced by Dan McHugh. Our thanks to Juliette Reardon, the author of The Royals in Australia and editor-at-large of the Australian Women's Weekly. And thanks to Victoria Arbiter, Nine Honey's royal columnist and author of Queen Elizabeth II for Pocket Giants. This podcast is proudly supported by Future Women, a club dedicated to the advancement of women through quality journalism, community and events.